Hello everyone. In the previous lecture, you have seen what happens to the input impedance of a transmission line or lossless transmission line when the length of the transmission line is equal to lambda by 8, lambda by 4 and lambda by 2. In this lecture, we will concentrate on the characteristics of lossless transmission line. For a lossless transmission line, the impedance at a distance of L from the load is given by Z of L equal to ZO characteristic impedance into ZL cos beta L plus J into ZO sin beta L by ZO cos beta L plus J into ZL sin beta L. We already derived this equation in the calculation of voltage and current waveforms. And this impedance is called absolute impedance. But while dealing with Smith charts, absolute impedance does not make any sense. That's why instead of absolute impedance, we tried to calculate the normalized impedance. And the normalized impedance Z bar of L, which is defined as Z of L by characteristic impedance, that is equal to ZL bar cos of beta L plus J times sin beta L by cos of beta L plus J times ZL bar sin beta L. This is our normalized impedance. The first characteristic is, let us say I have a transmission line whose normalized impedance is Z bar of L at a distance of L from the load. Now from that point, if I move either towards the generator or towards the load, what happens to the normalized impedance after a distance of lambda by 2? Therefore, the new normalized impedance is Z bar of L plus at a distance of lambda by 2. That is equal to Z of L bar normalized impedance at a distance of L into cos of beta times L plus lambda by 2 plus J into sin beta times L plus lambda by 2 by cos of beta times L plus lambda by 2 plus J times Z bar of L sin of L plus lambda by 2. We have a term beta times of L plus lambda by 2, that is equal to, I can write it as beta L plus beta lambda by 2. Anyway, we know the value of beta 2 pi by lambda, therefore I can write it as beta L plus 2 pi by lambda into lambda by 2. Lambda will get cancelled, 2 will get cancelled, the remaining value is beta L plus pi. We have two terms in this equation, cos of beta times L plus lambda by 2 and sin of beta times L plus lambda by 2. So let us see, cos of beta times L plus lambda by 2, I can write it as cos of beta L plus pi. Cos of pi plus theta is nothing but minus cos theta, therefore I can write it as minus cos beta L. Similarly, sin of beta times L plus lambda by 2, I can write it as sin of beta L plus pi. Sin of pi plus theta will gives you minus sin of theta, therefore minus sin of beta L. If I substitute these two equations in our normalized impedance, Z bar of L plus lambda by 2 equal to Z bar of L into minus cos of beta L plus J times minus sin of beta L by minus cos of beta L plus J times Z bar of L minus sin beta L. If I take minus as common in both numerator and denominator, then z bar of L plus lambda by 2 equal to z bar of L cos beta L plus j times sin beta L by cos beta L plus j times z bar of L sin beta L. If you observe this equation is same as that the equation that we have taken here, which means z bar of L plus lambda by 2 is equal to z bar of L. By observing this equation, I can say that the normalized impedance at a distance of lambda by 2 from the point where we started is the same value. Therefore, I can conclude the normalized impedance value repeats for every lambda by 2 distance. Let me remind you, on a Smith chart, if you have a normalized impedance point and if you travel a distance of lambda by 2, which is nothing but 360 degrees on a Smith chart, again you will come to the same point. Just like your voltage wave and current wave, your normalized impedance also oscillates. Let us say I have a transmission line. If I try to measure impedance here, let us say this is Z of L. If I move at a distance of lambda by 2, let us say this is lambda by 2, the impedance, if you try to measure it here, you are going to get the same value Z of L. Let's try to mention it as Z bar of L, because normalized impedance value only we will consider on a Smith chart. You cannot say the impedance value repeats for every lambda by 2 distance. You must say that the normalized impedance value repeats for every lambda by 2 distance. Let us see what happens to the normalized impedance value at a distance of lambda by 4. Instead of taking lambda by 2, if I take a distance of lambda by 4, then beta times of L plus lambda by 4 equal to, I can write beta L plus 2 pi by lambda into lambda by 4. Lambda will get cancelled, 2 ones, 2 twos, therefore it is beta L plus pi by 2. If I write cos of beta L plus pi by 2, then it is equal to minus sine of beta L. Similarly, if I write sine of beta L plus pi by 2, it is cos of beta L. If I try to find out the normalized impedance at a distance of lambda by 4, then ZL bar into minus sine of beta L plus j times cos beta L by minus sine of beta L plus j times ZL bar cos beta L. If I take j as common in the numerator as well as in denominator, then I can write this as ZL bar j times sin beta L plus, since j is taken common, this is cos beta L. Similarly, this is j sin beta L plus z bar of L cos beta L. J will get cancelled and I will move this numerator to the denominator here. Then I can write z bar of L plus lambda by 4 equal to 1 by z bar of L cos beta L plus j into sin beta L by cos beta L plus j into Z bar of L sin beta L. And these equations which are in braces is nothing but our Z bar of L. I can write Z bar of L plus lambda by 4 is equal to 1 by Z bar of L, which means on a transmission line, if you move a distance of lambda by 4, the normalized impedance just inverts. Similarly, from that point, again you move a distance of lambda by 4, the normalized impedance again inverts, which is nothing but our first case. So therefore, I can conclude for every distance of lambda by 4 on the transmission line, the normalized impedance inverts itself. If I take a transmission line, let us say the normalized impedance at this point is Z bar of L. If I travel a distance of lambda by 4 from here, then the impedance at this point will be 1 by Z bar of L. Similarly, even though if you move in this direction, a distance of lambda by 4, again the impedance that you are going to observe here is 1 by Z bar of L. Since this is lambda by 4, again if you travel a distance of lambda by 4 again, the total distance will be lambda by 2. If you try to measure the impedance here, you are going to get Z bar of L, which is nothing but our first case. So from these 2 points, you can conclude that for every distance of lambda by 4, the normalized impedance inverts, and for every distance of lambda by 2, the normalized impedance repeats itself. The third case is the most important case, that is matched condition on a transmission line. This point we already discussed when you are dealing with transmission lines. The matched condition means if the load impedance is equal to characteristic impedance, then you will call it as matched condition on a transmission line. If I say ZL value is equal to ZO, that implies the normalized load ZL bar is equal to ZL by ZO, and whose value is equal to 1, because ZL value is equal to ZO. Therefore, if you try to find out ZL bar, that means the normalized impedance, then it is equal to ZL bar cos of beta L plus J into sin beta L by cos of beta L plus J times ZL bar sin beta L. Since the value of ZL bar equal to 1, I can replace this ZL bar and this ZL bar as 1. Then the remaining equation cos beta L plus J beta L by cos beta L plus J beta L is nothing but 1. ZL bar equal to 1, which implies ZL value equal to ZO. This is the condition for a matched transmission line. Let us suppose if the value of load is equal to the characteristic impedance of the transmission line, then the diagram will be like this. So this is the characteristic impedance ZO, and the load impedance that I am going to connect here is ZL equal to ZO. In such scenario, as I am saying, ZL bar of L equal to 1, ZL bar equal to 1, which represents whatever the length of the line that you take, the normalized impedance remains 1. That means if you take a transmission line whose characteristic impedance is ZO, and if you terminate the transmission line with ZO, then if you measure the normalized impedance here, or the normalized impedance here, or the normalized impedance here, or any point on this transmission line, the normalized impedance remains constant. Therefore, I can say, irrespective of the length of the transmission line, if the line is terminated with the characteristic impedance ZO, then the impedance at any point on the transmission line is equal to the characteristic impedance. This condition we call it as matched condition on transmission line. So I can write Z of L equal to ZO in this case. Now if it is a matched condition, what happens to our reflection coefficient? The reflection coefficient at the load gamma L is equal to ZL minus ZO by ZL plus ZO. For a matched condition, ZL value is equal to ZO, which implies its value is 0. So therefore I can write the reflection coefficient in this case is 0. That means the power only transferred from generator to the load. Since there is no reflection, there is no scope for a standing wave voltage. If you try to find out the voltage standing wave ratio or else standing wave ratio, that is equal to 1 plus mod gamma L by 1 minus mod gamma L. If you substitute the value of gamma L here, its value is 1. That implies our voltage standing wave ratio or else the standing wave ratio on the transmission line equal to 1. If gamma L equal to 0, I can say there is no reflection of wave, or else if voltage standing wave ratio is equal to 1, I can say there is no standing wave here. That means the wave only travels in forward direction, or else the reflected power is 0. These are the three important conditions on transmission line which are used for us to design a transmission line system. Thank you.